Two teams separated by 12 miles of Highway 151. One will get silver medals tonight. The other will get gold. Good evening, baseball fans, and welcome to Pony League Baseball from the Platteville Journal's Facebook page. Tonight from Keepers Park in Dickeyville, it's the Pony League Championship game between the number 6 seed Platteville Hillman and the number 5 seed Dickeyville Athletic Club. The winner's the tournament champion. That's all you need to say about that. I'm Steve Prestegard, and these two teams are playing a little bit late tonight. That's because of the Little League Championship, which went to extra innings, with Cuba City defeating Dickeyville 7-4 to win the Little League Championship. So we're about 35 minutes later than we were supposed to start, but that's all right. It is cloudy. It is 78 degrees, and it is insanely humid tonight. But hopefully the weather holds. Doesn't look like it's too much of a problem right now. And let's bring you the starting lineups for the championship game tonight. For Platteville, leading off is Wyatt Wanizek, the shortstop. Batting second, center fielder Josh Banfield. Connor Timlin, the first baseman, will bat third. Dylan Prestegard, the pitcher, bats cleanup. Hitting fifth is Seth Millsap, the second baseman. Brendan Edge, the catcher, will bat sixth. John Drefsinski, the left fielder, will bat seventh. Hitting eighth is third baseman Riley Niehaus. And batting ninth is Jagger Johnson, the right fielder. Dickeyville on defense. Dominic Horner is the left fielder. Tyler Jones is in center field, and Colin Wiederhold is in right. At third base, Devin Udelhoven. And I forgot to write down a first name, but Preston Kephart is the shortstop. At second base is Trey Barth. First baseman is Zachary Bush. Behind the plate, Mason Reese. And on the mound, Kobe Vosberg. And it looks like we're going to have the players introduced, or perhaps the national anthem, which we'll also bring to you. These two teams won, obviously, 3 games in the tournament that was played in Platteville over the weekend. Platteville opened up with a 10-4 win over the 11th seed Schulzburg, and then knocked off the 3rd seed Keeler 3-2 Saturday afternoon, and the number 2 seed Cuba City 13-7 on
this time, we'd like everyone to please rise.
On Saturday afternoon, or Sunday afternoon, and now from Dickeyville, the national anthem. The national anthem here at Keepers Park in Dickeyville. I should mention before I forget to, a little bit about this ballpark. It is owned by Holy Ghost Catholic Church, which is up a hill. But Coach Scott Bush of Dickeyville was mentioning that this is a ballpark that's had about $30,000 of work without a single cent from the village of Dickeyville. And it's at a natural amphitheater, kind of a natural valley, so it's a really nice setting for a ballpark, and we're ready for baseball. The last game for these 8th graders, and Wyatt Wanizek will lead off for Platteville, and the first pitch of the ball game is a strike. Scott Bush mentioned in the pregame that there are 3 players on the Dickeyville roster who play for the Dubuque Sluggers and are pitching for that group in the weekend. That's strike 2. And so they are not available to pitch during the week, and that might explain Dickeyville's number 5 seed, and that's strike 3. Wanizek is retired on 3 pitches to start the ball game. So as we mentioned, Platteville with the 2 higher seed wins over the 3rd seed Keeler 2 game that Keeler left 11 runners on base, did not score until the bottom of the 6th inning. And then in the game against Cuba City, Sunday afternoon, this is Josh Banfield, the center fielder, by the way. And in that game against Cuba City Sunday afternoon, and a swing and a miss and quickly 2 strikes. Platteville scored 6 runs in the top of the first. Not only that, but they actually got the first 2 runners that Cuba City did, first 2 batters, and then 7 consecutive batters reached base, and 6 of them scored for Platteville. So before Cuba City saw their first pitch, they were down 6-0, and Platteville ended up winning 13-7, and that's a strikeout. So back-to-back called strikeouts to start the ball game for Vosburg. And here is Connor Timlin, the first baseman.
Now up, Connor Timlin.
And Timlin, strike 1. Curve inside. And he gets away. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. So Keepers Park has mentioned it's $30,000 of work. Obviously, a lot of local support. As you see all of the advertising signs on the wall outside. The swing and a miss at an outside pitch makes it 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two. If there are technical issues, because I keep getting this message saying your connection is weak, I apologize. If we lose the signal as we did for mysterious reasons, we'll just bring up another one. And it's grounded, fouled on third baseline. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So we'll get this game in if it takes like 17 different files of games. We're still relatively new to this Facebook Live thing, as you know. The 2-2 and a swing and a miss. Vosburg strikes out the side in the first. Platteville nothing. And Dickeyville coming to bat. And the starting lineup for Dickeyville, as I change pages here, Mason Reese, the catcher, will lead off. Batting second, second baseman Trey Barth. Hitting third is Pearson Kephart. The shortstop, I called him Preston before, sorry about that. Kobe Vosburg is the pitcher, and he will bat cleanup. Batting fifth, Zachary Bush, the first baseman. Colin Wiederhold is the right fielder, and he will bat sixth. The third baseman is Devin Udelhoven. He bats seventh. Batting eighth, Dominic Porter, the left fielder, and Tyler Jones is the center fielder, and he bats ninth. Defensively for Platteville, John Drefsinski is the left field. In center field is Josh Banfield. Jagger Johnson is in right. At third base, Riley Niehaus. Wyatt Wozek is the shortstop. Seth Millsap is at second base. The first baseman, Connor Timlin. Behind the plate, Brendan Edge. And on mound, Dylan Prestigard, who so far in the tournament has not given up a single run. Pitched one inning in the Schulzburg game, the very first inning, and got through that. Pitched 3 innings against Keeler, and although he left 5 runners on base, none of them scored, and then he pitched 2 innings in the win over Cuba City. So he so far in the tournament has not given up an earned run. And this lineup for Platteville, by the way, is the exact same lineup that they have used the last 2 ball games. And having John Drefsinski in left field with his speed, he made a couple of nice defensive plays in the Keeler game and in the Cuba City game. Mason Reese will lead off for Dickeyville. on a thick night. They dragged the infield before this ball game, and to no surprise, there was no dust raised at all after all the rain that we got on Friday and Wednesday before that. And that's a strike. A very large crowd here. There are the seats are relatively full. There are people sitting on picnic tables and bleachers in front of us, and that's line fouled on the third base line. Quickly 2 strikes. There are people sitting on the top of the grass all the way around. Good crowd. I don't know if this is typical for Dickeyville or not, but this is, I'm sure, the biggest crowd that Platteville has played before this year. Two strikes to Reese. Again foul, or down the left field line, and it is caught. And the catch made by John Drewczynski. One away in the first. Trey Barth, the second baseman, to the plate. Swinging a high fastball. Dickeyville's wins this season, or in the tournament, the 0-1. Swinging at this, and it's 0-2. They defeated Darlington 19-0. And their 2 wins over higher seeds, Galena 3-2 on Saturday, and then the number 1 seed Belmont 12-6 on Sunday. That was the second semifinal game Sunday afternoon. 1 ball, 1 strike. Strike on the outside corner, 1-2. Actually, that is strike 3. 2 away in the first.
Up the bat.
And here is Pearson Kephart, who is starting the game at shortstop. Probably see him on the mound later. Platteville, the 2 pitchers you're likely to see, Dylan Prestigard and Seth Millsap, unless something odd happens, and that's ball 1. No wind to speak. In fact, there is no wind at all here. It is that the air is that heavy here tonight. 2 balls and no strikes as that ball bounces in there. So this really not like either of the games in, or any of the games, I should say, in Platteville over the weekend. Sunday was sunny except for about 10 drops of rain. And Saturday kind of went back and forth between cloudy and sunny, and that ball popped foul. And it manages to avoid a parked vehicle. And it's 2 balls, 1 strike. Two one, 3-1. Pitcher Kobe Vosberg on deck. Chopped to third, Niehaus to first, and that ends the inning. So both pitchers retire their first 3 opponents in order. Our score after 1 in Dickeyville, no score. Thanks for joining us tonight on the Platteville Journal Facebook page. It's been fun bringing you these tournament games for Platteville. And welcome to all the Dickeyville people and their families watching tonight. The Dickeyville Athletic Club baseball team. There's a nice facility here. They've got, I have not had one, but they have prime rib sandwiches here, which I bet are good, and pizza, and they've got beer. We'll, I'm sure, have the photo of the winning team tonight in the Journal next week. Platteville Journal, your source for Platteville and Dickeyville area news and Sports 348-3006 to subscribe. Updates on the Journal Facebook page and at www.swnews4u.com. 4-5-6 hitters for Platteville, Dylan Prestigard, Seth Millsap, and Brendan Edge. And as mentioned, this is the exact same lineup that Platteville had in the games against Keeler and Cuba City. A little different lineup in the first game over Schulzberg, but this is exactly the lineup they've had the last two games. Prestigard takes a strike at the letters. And a lower strike that time. Oh, quickly 0-2. 0-2 pitch. Got him. Well, Vosburg so far, 4 batters, 4 strikeouts. And here is Seth Millsap. I'll say this, Vosburg's pitches certainly move nicely and are fast also, as we just saw with that fastball, strike one. It would figure that with the 2 top pitchers available for each team, and more importantly with no, it's not like they played earlier today and they're playing again, so you figure that everybody is available. It's the last game of the season. No score, 1 out, top of the second inning. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Scoreboard, as you can see, says no score in the second. And that's at foul. And the scoreboard doesn't say it should be 1 ball, 2 strikes. Oh! Boy, nobody's going to hit that ball. 2 outs. That's an evil pitch, man. 2 away, and here's Brent Edge. One ball, no strikes. It would stand to reason that this would be at least potentially a low-scoring game. Ouch. 2 balls, no strikes. No score, top of the second inning. In the Pony League Championship game, Platteville the 6th seed, Dickeyville the 5th seed. Swing and a miss, 2-1. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Outside corner for a strike, 2-2. We got started a little late. The Little League game went to extra innings with Cuba City winning 7-4, 3 runs in the 7th, and it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. 2 out, top of the second, no score. And the 3-2. And Brendan Edge with 2 outs becomes the ballgame's first base runner. Here's John Drifsinski, the left fielder. As you know, Platteville has all year long, and there's a steal attempt, and into second base for the steal is Edge. So he's at second with 2 out, and a base hit could bring him in. Actually, I think that's probably a courtesy runner, but I'm not sure from here. And that ball is popped up behind first. And the catch is made to end the inning. That was a little bit of an adventure, but caught by the second baseman to end the inning. 1 walk, 1 left. And our score after an inning and a half, 0-0, Platteville and Dickeyville.
Cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit
No scores. We head to the bottom of the second inning. And Cooper Withrow was warming up Dylan Prestigard. Brendan got his catcher's equipment on and is ready to finish the warm-up. Bottom of the second inning will feature the 4, 5, 6 batters, of course, Kobe Vosberg, Zachary Bush, and Colin Wiederholt. It is, again, a battle of red teams. Schallsburg, of course, wears red. Platteville wears one or more shades of red, depending on where, and that's a swing and a miss. Depending on which team, I should say. This is the bright red variety. The correct variety is Cardinal, which is what I'm wearing right now. And as there are teams at the high school, some are wearing Cardinal and some are more like maroon in their red. Apparently it's hard to get the reds to match in uniforms. 1 ball, 1 strike. Keeler was red, despite the fact that they are in the Southwestern School District. Colors blue and white, of course. That's low, and 2 balls, 1 strike. And Dickeyville is red as well, even though they are in Cuba City School District, black and gold colors. 2-1 pitch. And that's a sky-high fly ball to right center. And coming over and making the catch, Josh Banfield, 1 out.
I would like to let everyone know that this game is streaming live on the Platteville Journal's Facebook page, so if there's any friends or family that couldn't make it to the game, let them know they can still watch.
Wow, the game's being streamed on Facebook. Amazing. Whose crazy idea was that? First pitch to
Up the bat,
Zach Bush is inside, ball 1. Strike the knees. And immediately looks like the home plate, a pretty large strike zone tonight, at least from where I'm sitting. Not criticizing that, just an observation. And of course, everybody's fine with whatever the strike zone is, as long as it is a consistent strike zone. Although if you talk to pitchers, they want a strike zone from, the top of the head to the bottom of the spikes. 2-1 pitch. Foul down the third baseline, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. And batters would like wherever their sweet spot is at a strike zone that's just that size and no more. Here is the 2-2 pitch. Fly ball to right. And that's going to drop for a base hit. First hit of the ball game. And so a runner at first with 1 out. And here is Colin Wiederholt. It is certainly one of those nights that I'm sure the players did not require a whole lot of warm-up to get warmed up, given how humid it is this evening. Swing and miss, strike 1.
Dickeyville, Colin Wiederholt.
Short lead at first. And that ball goes to the screen. And so Bush is able to get to second base. So first runner in scoring position tonight with one out, no score, bottom of the second inning. By the way, folks, we always talk about, well, what are the rules as far as the length of games? It is 6 innings, no time limit tonight. And as we saw in the first game tonight, goes to extra innings, it goes to extra innings. So we got this, 1 and 2. It's only the adults who have to work tomorrow, right? Bush, the runner at second. And the 1-2 pitch. Didn't go around. Says it hit him. And apparently it did. So the hit batter, Wienerholt, goes to first. And 2 aboard with 1 out. And here is Devin Udelhoven, the third baseman for Dickeyville. So the first threat of the night, 2 runners aboard, 1 out, no score. Foul off. Strike 1. Had a reaction to that kind of half swing over to the side here. Scoreboard says 2 strikes. I think it's strike 1 and a faked throw to second. 1 ball, 1 strike. Correction, 1 ball, 2 strikes apparently. Right, off of the pitcher, Prestigard, and a throw to second to get the force. 1 put out at second. That is the literal danger of being the pitcher. So, Udelhoven gets on first on a fielder's choice. Runner goes to third, 2 out. And the first pitch fouled off, strike 1, 2. The 8th place hitter, Dominic Horner. I mean, that ball hit Dillon and then went up 50 feet. Now throw to third. And Bush gets back. And as it turns out, it went right to the second baseman. Shades of Fernando Valenzuela's no-hitter, which ended on a double play that started with the ball bouncing off him. Ground ball to short. And the toss to second for the force, and the inning is over. Well, 1 hit and 1 hit better, but no runs. 2 out, or 2 runners left, and our score after 2. Platteville nothing, Dickeyville nothing. I do hope those are not rain clouds. I don't see anybody here with umbrellas. So on the one hand, they must think it's not going to rain either, or on the other hand, they're just not prepared. And that would make it difficult to borrow an umbrella if, well, I suppose I could, well, I don't know. If I got under the bleachers, that wouldn't really help very much. So, I don't know. I suppose I could like grab my game bag and hold it over my head, except the thing weighs 50 pounds. Let's hope we don't need it. No scores, we go to the 3rd inning. Dickeyville with 1 hit, and they've left 2 runners aboard. Platteville with no hits, they have left 1 runner aboard via the walk. Yes, to answer Jan Casper's question, Oh, wait a minute. Are those bagpipes or not? It's Steve Earle's Copperhead Road. I can't remember if there were bagpipes there or not. But at any rate, first pitch to Riley Niehaus is a swing of this at a inside rising fastball.
We have Riley Highhouse up for Platteville.
And the mispronunciation, probably didn't read the handwriting, gets some amusement from the Platteville players. 1 ball, 1 strike. I can't remember if Copperhead Road starts with bagpipes or not. I think it does. Of course, as you know, the number of rock songs with bagpipes is a very small number. The only other one that comes to mind is AC/DC's, what is that called? Now I can't think of it. Anyway, 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Dickeyville Little League players behind the backstop thought that was strike 3, but the only opinion that counts is the guy in the blue, and that's a swing and a miss. 1 away. And for Vosburg, 6 strikeouts in the first pass through the batting order. Jagger Johnson to the plate. Jagger Johnston to the plate, and I was afraid I did that. Sorry about that. Strike 1 on the outside corner. This is what happens when you don't have a printed roster, you know. 2 strikes. Maybe next year. The 2-strike pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. One, 2. Strike 3. And Vosburg, that's the second out. And it is now 7 strikeouts for Vosburg, and back to the top of the order. And the first of those 7 strikeouts, Wyatt Wanazek. That one I know. Be interested to see how Platteville goes through fares against Vosburg the second time through the order when they've had a chance to see him, of course. And that's a strike, gets away, but nobody on base. 1 ball, 1 strike. And apparently something's going on in Platteville. My fire department pager just went off. Strike at the knees. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1-2. Got him. Well, Vosburg, as you just heard, struck out the side. And as Blue Swede makes their appearance, our score after 2.5, Platteville nothing, Dickeyville nothing. You have to wonder what it was exactly when the group Blue Swede in the early 1970s was recording this album, and they had actually 2 hits. They were not a 1-hit wonder; they were a 2-hit wonder, and they were both covers. One of them was the cover of the association song "Never My Love," and then this one, of course, is a cover, or was a cover, of the B.J. Thomas song "Hooked on a Feeling." And you have to wonder, what this really needs is like caveman sound. It's caveman sounds. And hence became Ooga Chaka. And of course, they got a second life in the Fox TV series Ally McBeal with this, apparently, I think it was a dancing baby that only the title character could see, if I remember right.
appreciate your patronage of our sponsors.
9-1-2 batters
Once again,
for Dickeyville in the bottom of the third inning. Tyler Jones and back to the top of the order, and Reese and Barth. Dylan Prestigard in his third inning of work on the mound. And that's it, foul, strike one. Dickeyville in the second inning had runners at first and third, but were unable to get them home. So Dickeyville's left 2 runners aboard, and Platteville 1 in the first 2.5 innings. The 0-1. And a check swing, and that cost him a strike. 2 strikes. The 0-2 pitch. 1-2. The 1-2. And that got him on the inside corner at the knees. One away. And for Dylan Prestigard, his third strikeout of the night. Now back to the top of the order, and Reese, who flied to left in the first.
Up back.
And that is in there, ball 1. No score, 2 out, bottom of the third inning. For the Pony League Championship. And the 1-0 pitch inside, 2 balls, no strikes. Two-0, 3-0. Barth on deck.
Dylan Prestigard still on the mound for Platteville.
The 3-0 pitch. And that's ball 4. Reese aboard at first. And here is Barth, who struck out looking in the first. I mentioned Fernando Valenzuela and his no-hitter in 1990, which kind of came out of the blue. He was not pitching that great at that point. He missed the 1988 World Series, broke back to first. Missed the 88 World Series for the Dodgers. And was on a comeback and was pitching against St. Louis on a June night in 1990. And that's chopped foul. Strike 1. That was the second no-hitter of the night, because the earlier that night, Dave Stewart of the Oakland A's no-hit Toronto. And ESPN had that game, swing and a miss, 2 strikes. And then they had the St. Louis-Los Angeles game, and Fernando ended that with a no-hitter. And it started again with a ground ball up the middle off him, and that's hit left field, and a base hit headed for the wall. Reese digging for 3. Reese digging for the plate, and it's a ground rule double. So he'll have to go back to second base. Or back to third, I should say. And Barth aboard at second on the ground rule double. So second and third, 1 out. And Kephart to the plate. Kephart grounded to third in the first. Again, Dickeyville with 2 runners aboard and 1 out. They had that similar situation in the second inning, but were unable to get the runners in. And that's popped up. And it didn't hit me. 1 strike. No score. Bottom of the third inning, but for the second inning now, Dickeyville has a threat going. Runners at second and third, and 1 out. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1. Out into third. Long throw. The run will score. The out is made at first. So Platteville changes the run for the out. Reese soars. So he gets a ground out and an RBI. And moving over to third is Barth. So there he is with 2 out. And Vosberg at the plate, and he hits a sky-high pop to left. And this will be caught by Banfield, and that ends the inning. Or Wanen's, excuse me. Ends the inning. But 1 run on a hit and a walk. 1 runner left. And our score after 3 is Dickeyville 1 and Platteville nothing. Top of the 4th inning. And a 1-0 Dickeyville lead. And we have a new pitcher? New pitcher?
New pitcher.
All right. So Kephart, who started the ball game at shortstop, is now the pitcher. And Vosberg is in right field, I believe I heard. Oh, he's at shortstop. So it's the old pitcher to shortstop switch. And we'll see if Platteville does the same thing. Have Dylan Prestigard done with his 3 innings. 2, 3, 4 batters, and Josh Banfield takes strike 1. Banfield a strikeout in the 1st inning. Two strikes. Been told by a team that played and actually beat Dickeyville during the regular season. They had 2 very good pitchers. That certainly seems to be the case, what we've seen so far. Platteville doesn't have a hit yet. They have had a base runner on a walk. But given that 0 on the scoreboard, obviously he wasn't able to get in at a swing and a miss. One away. And here is Timlin, who also struck out in the 1st. And one thing seems obvious is that he comes in more from the side. And maybe he works a little quicker, too. The 0-1, and that's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. But as you know, basically every level of baseball there is, from when they first start pitch, the teams with the pitching are the teams that go the farthest. And that's hit foul. And it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. This fastball might actually be might be better than Vosberg's, and that's saying something. 1-2. And a swing and a miss. Timlin to first, and the put out after the strikeout. And 2 away in the first. Dylan Prestigard struck out, looking in the second inning. 1-0 Dickeyville, top of the 4th inning. And a ball game flying along here. Even with a late start. There was a late start because of the Little League game that went to 7 innings, with Cuba City winning that 7-4 in 7. 3 runs in the top of the 7, and that's a strike. Oh, and 2. Two-strike pitch. And strike 3, and Kephart strikes out the side in the 4th. Our score after 3.5. Dickeyville 1, Platteville nothing. I'll probably need it after this is done. Unless somebody brings over another one. Yeah, okay.
I'll bring you a sandwich.
That good? Bottom of the 4th inning. And a new pitcher for Platteville. Seth Millsap takes over. And Dylan Prestigard moves over to second base. So Dylan goes 3. Gives up just the 1 run, but it's going to be awful tough for Platteville to score tonight, given the pitching that we've seen. Well, Seth Millsap, he pitched 2 innings, gave up 2 runs in the win over Schulzberg. In fact, he was the only Platteville pitcher to pitch more than 1 inning in that game. And then he pitched the last 3 innings and got the save against Keeler. He did give up the 2 runs unearned in the top of the 6th. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Parents having heart attacks in the stands, and he got the last strikeout to win that ball game. And then he picked up the save in the win over Cuba City, although Cuba City did score 4 in the 7th, but at that point the game was pretty much out of reach anyway, and that was going to be the last inning anyway because of the time limit. Turns out scoring 6 runs in a half inning takes a lot of time to do. 5, 6, 7 batters due up for the Dickeyville Athletic Club. Bush, Wiederholt, and Vosberg. Bush scored the only run of the game in the 2nd inning. Walked and came around to score. Walked, moved to 3rd on a double, and then scored on a ground out. And a check swing for a strike. And that ball gets away on a check swing. One ball and 2 strikes, I believe. Have not seen the umpire give a signal, and the scoreboard I don't think is correct. That is grounded to short. It gets past and into left center for a base hit. Just the 2nd hit of the game. No, that's all right. 3rd hit of the game for Dickeyville. And a runner at first to lead off the bottom of the 4th, with Dickeyville looking to add to their 1-0 lead. There's Wiederholt. And the ball gets away, but Bush not moving from first.
So glad. They love every minute of it. I miss it.
Strike on the outside corner at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike. I think I hear cicadas out beyond the outfield, and that's low. 2 balls and a strike. Fouled off. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I heard that story. I saw that.
Actually, I believe this is Colton Tranel at the plate, if my roster is correct. 3-2, swing and a miss. 1 away. And it is Trail with his first appearance, and he's 0 for 1 after the strikeout. Here's Uderhoven, who was retired on that. He got aboard at first after he was hit by a pitch, and then was retired on that spectacular 1-6 put out when the ball just went off of the pitcher and went right to second base. Grounded to second and back into right center field for a base hit. Bush is able to go just to second. But again, 2 aboard with 1 out, and here's Horner. Horner reached on he was the one. He reached on a fielder's choice. That's right. Reached on a fielder's choice to end the ball game. A little dark here without reading glasses. 1-0 Dickeyville. Bottom of the 4th. 1 out, but 2 runners aboard. And a swing and a miss for strike 1. Oh, and 2. Yeah, so we figure that there must be some kind of fire or perhaps accident in Platteville, and I'm here in Dickeyville. As I can tell something was going on because my fire pager was going off, and a swing and a miss. And Horner strikes out. Second strikeout for Seth Millsap. And Tyler Jones, who struck out in the second inning. 1-0 Dickeyville, 2 out in the bottom of the 4th. And ball 1. One ball, 1 strike. Runners at first and second on a pair of base hits. That's low. Neither runner making much of a move. Platteville in this situation would be probably trying some sort of thing to get the runner over to third at least, but not here, and that's ball 4. So Jones walks, bases loaded with 2 out, and back to the top of the order, Reese, who struck out looking in the first. And then was scored in the first inning. He was the guy that scored the first, and at this point, only run of the game. So bases loaded and 2 out for Reese. Ball 1. Check again. Scoreboard says a strike. Let's see. Well, that's a strike. Well, it's either 1-1 or 2 strikes. Well, now it's 2 strikes definitely. And the 1-2 pitch. High, 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Now we're all right on that. And the 2-2. Swing and a miss. And Millsap loads the bases and leaves them loaded with no one scoring. After 2 hits and a walk, 3 left, our score after 4. Dickeyville 1, Platteville nothing. Well, it's starting to get late for Platteville. We go to the top of the 5th inning. 5, 6, 7 batters here in the 5th. Millsap, Edge, and Drefsinski. Only 1 run by Dickeyville in the 3rd inning. And the pitching has made that 1 run stand up. You look at the 2 pitchers, Vosburg and Kephart for Dickeyville, and certainly Cuba City High School is going to get a great pair of freshman pitchers next year. Not sure if the assistant coach was actually really hurt there or just kind of, tried to make him feel good or something like that. Scott Bush and Kevin Barth are the Dickeyville coaches. And, of course, for Platteville, it's Kelly Johnston and Kurt Timlin and Brian Knight. Randy Knight, I knew I'd do that. Who is watching tonight. I've seen the messages from him. Well, time's starting to run out for Platteville. Top of the 5th inning, 1-0 Dickeyville. And Millsap, who struck out looking in the 2nd inning. Low and a ball to strike. Two balls and a strike. That's got to be tough to stand in against a pitcher with that kind of sidearm-ish motion. But that's ball 4. And so a leadoff walk, and Millsap aboard to lead off the top of the 5th. And now a mound conference coming up. And certainly Dickeyville is thinking, well, you think they're going to bunt or not? And actually, they wave off the catcher, Reese. And so this is just coach and pitcher talking. Kelly Johnston mentioned, that they basically played small ball all year. Platteville has. It's not like they hit home runs. They've had a couple, but that's it. They mostly just they're very aggressive on the base pass. And there's an example, a steal of second without a throw because the ball got away from the catcher. So Millsap aboard at second, and he represents the tying run in the top of the 5th inning. Now Edge's goal is to get him over to 3rd. 2 balls, no strikes. Or get on base yourself, of course. Platteville would certainly take that. Millsap not much of a lead at second. And that's a strike at the knees. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Work your way back, Pearson. There we go, bud.
And a throw back. And Millsap gets in time. Three balls and a strike. John Drefsinski on deck. Pop hit the top of the backstop. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The backstop here has a bit of an overhang in the fence, as I think most of them do. So here's a 3-2. Ball 4. So the first 2 runners aboard here in the top of the 5th inning via the walk. And here's Drefsinski with a tying run at second in Millsap and the go-ahead run at first in Brendan Edge. And an outside corner strike. Edge stays out there, no pinch runner or a courtesy runner in this circumstance. 1 ball, 1 strike. And that's a strike on the inside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Riley Niehaus on deck, the 1-2. Strike 3. 1 away in the the top of the 5th. What you'd really like here if you're Platteville is a hit to the right side to move at least 1 base runner. Well, you have to move them both, obviously. That's strike 1, meanwhile, to Niehaus. This is the first time that Platteville has gotten a runner into scoring position. That's high, 1 ball, 1 strike. Would you dare try to get him over to third? By swing and a miss, and doesn't look like at this point. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kelly Johnston coaching third. Kurt Timmon at first. And 1-2. That is a ball that you saw it right there. The amazing amount of drop on that pitch. 2 away. And it's up to Jagger Johnston with 2 out. Perfect time to get an extra base hit. That's a strike. Tying run at second, go-ahead run at first, at a swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. And Reese feinted a throw, but that throw didn't go anyplace. And quickly, 2 strikes. And that's it. 2 walks and then 3 strikeouts. 2 runners are left in our score after 4.5. Dickeyville 1, Platteville nothing. All right, well, this is the story I have about Jump Around. I guess I can say this because we're in the Cuba City School District after all. So it was March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, 1993. And as you know, Cuba City has a St. Patrick's Day parade, and that was set up, by the way, by late Tom Hooker Ryan, owner of Hooker's Corner Bar. And he had he's kind of set up the parade. He always had a St. Patrick's Day special of corned beef or Irish stew. And I was sitting at Hooker's eating corned beef for lunch, and a video by a group called House of Pain came out. This was it. So the very first time I saw this video was on St. Patrick's Day in 1993 in Cuba City. And if you had told me then that this was going to be a song that was played at college and pro sporting events for decades after that, I would have said, are you nuts? But it is. I might have accused you of drinking too much Guinness or something like that, but here they are. They play that, of course, between the 3rd and 4th quarters at Camp Randall, and they play it at Lambeau, I think, at the 2-minute warning, if I'm not sure, or I'm not mistaken about that. 2, 3, 4 batters in the bottom of the 5th inning. Last chance for Dickeyville to add to their 1-0 lead. Barth, Vosberg, and Kephart. Try that again. Barth, Kephart, and Vosberg I flipped the 3-4 batters, and Seth Millsap throwing strikes, quickly 0-2. Platteville in the top of the 6th will have the top of their order. And that's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Got him. One away. And here is Kephart, who grounded to third in the first and then drove in a run with a base hit, or actually a ground out, in the 3rd inning, and that's the only run of the ball game tonight. Strike 1. It has been, probably as you would kind of expect, a pitcher's duel. And the only run so far driven in on an RBI ground out. The 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two and 1. Two 1 pitch. Fouled off, 2-2. I am told that the prime rib sandwiches are excellent here, and told by somebody who pointed out that I couldn't really eat one as long as I'm on the air. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Bottom of the 5th inning, 1-0 Dickeyville. Line to short. And caught by Wanizek. 2 out. Nice play by Wanizek, who will, as you often see, a player makes a great defensive play and then immediately comes to bat the next inning. And indeed, Wyatt will lead off the top of the 6th inning. Here's Vosberg. Base hit in the 2nd inning, actually the 2nd inning, and then into the 3rd on a ground out to shortstop. 2 balls and strikes. Line to short, and what a play by Wanizek! It was a great play before. That's an even better play. And that spectacularly ends the 5th inning, setting up perhaps the last inning of the season. We go to the 6th, 1-0 Dickeyville. Sixth inning. 1-0 Dickeyville. They scored on an RBI ground in the 3rd inning, and that has been it. Platteville has had only 1 runner as far as second base, and that was 1 inning ago. Remember, Vosberg Kephart started the inning by walking 2, but then struck out the side. And so getting a run in, it's been hard for both teams tonight, obviously, given the 1-0 score.
1, 2, 3, boys, let's go. Everybody down and ready.
So here we go with the 6th inning. And ball 1 to Wanizek. Two balls, no strikes. 2-1. Got a strike in these inside quarter. Strike zone has been consistent tonight. And that's same pitch, same result. Balls, 2 strikes. Banfield on deck. That one just outside. It's 3-2. Fouled off. We'll do it again.
You had some line drives at the fully recovered.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Ball 4. And that one was the case where Kephart held on to the ball too long and so ended up throwing it outside. So the tying run aboard to lead off the top of the 6th inning. And here is Banfield. A couple of strikeouts. Now the interesting question here is if you're Platteville, do you bunt in this circumstance? I'm not sure I've seen them bunt this year, and that would tend to indicate no, it doesn't mean they haven't or that they couldn't. And indeed, that's what they're going to try. A bunt on the third baseline, foul, strike 1. I mean, this is a circumstance where I don't know that you could rely on putting a couple of hits together. They have to get that runner to scoring position however they can do it. Wanazek at first and attract a throwback to first. And here's the 1-strike pitch, high, and the throw to second is not in time. Wanazek gets a second. So there he is in scoring position with nobody out. And now the question is, will they try to bunt him over to third now? It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. And it's a swing and a miss. The answer was no. Connor Timlin on deck. You might remember Connor had a walk-off hit coming back from an 8-run deficit. And that's hit down the right field line. And a field ball! Down the right field line, around third is Wanazek. He will score a double! And we are tied! Josh Banfield ties the game with an RBI double. And here is Timlin with nobody out. And the game tied at 1. And that's ball 1 and goes to the screen. And the throw to third, and he is out. No, safe at third. And a lot of disagreement with the call here. But safe at third on the wild pitch. The throw beat him, but obviously the tag wasn't made before Banfield got into second, at least according to the base umpire. And meanwhile, a strike, and it's 1-ball, 1 strike. Dame tied at 1. Nobody out, top of the 6th. And that's hit foul, and it's 1-ball, 2 strikes. That ball was fair on the right field line by just a couple of feet. Perfectly placed. And the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Ball gets away. Timlin digging, and he will get to first. And the reason is that, and I think Reese did the right thing. He did not throw to first because he thought that Banfield from third would come to score. So he held the ball, and so Timlin reaches on a strikeout. But a drop third strike. And now Dylan Prestigard as a mound conference now taking place. Boy, first and third, nobody out. Platteville's only run of the game here in the top of the 6th, and they've got runners at first and third. Tied at 1 in the championship game of the Pony League tournament. Now Prestigard, who who has struck out twice, once looking and once swinging. Obviously, a ground ball to the right side would score a run, and the runner goes on a fouled off pitch. That was Timlin going from first. And now a throw to first when Timlin was standing at first, standing on the bag. So just one of those keep him honest sort of things there. Banfield, the go-ahead run at third. And the pitch is a strike. The throw to second is cut off. So stolen base. Because the same sort of thing is why Reese held on to that third strike, that drop third strike, because he didn't want Banfield coming in from third. Meanwhile, 1-2 to Prestigard. And that's popped up and is caught by the first baseman. For the first out of the sixth inning. And now Seth Millsap. Millsap struck out in the second, walked, but was held what was left aboard in the fifth inning. 1-1 tie, 1 out, top of the sixth. Swing and a miss. You know, if Kephart uncourses another one of those outside pitches that gets away from Reese, you wonder if they'll try to get, wonder at what point Banfield they'll try to get him down from third on a wild pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike, meanwhile, to Millsap. 2 ball, outside quarter strike. One and two with 1 out. And a chopper down the first baseline. Coming in is Banfield, and he will score! On a ground out to first. There are 2 out. So that's an out. But an RBI, and Platteville takes a 2-1 lead. As Banfield scores the second run for Platteville, and Timlin over to third. He would be huge insurance right now. The 5, 6, 7 batters will bat for Dickeyville in the bottom of the sixth. And a swing and a miss by Edge, strike 1. Edge walked in the second and walked in the fifth. 2-1 Platteville. And that pitch gets outside, and it goes to the screen, but Timlin not moving from third. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Timlin Insurance at third. The 1-2 pitch fouled off. We'll do it again. One, 2. 2-2. Pop foul. And we'll do it again. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Platteville with 2 runs in this inning and a 2-1 lead. And run number 3, Connor Timlin at third base. Three and 2. Now, obviously, Timlin will not be going on the pitch. Only would be the case he was at first, unless, of course, ball 4 is a wild pitch. And the ground ball to first gets it in! A down field line! And Timlin scores! 3-1 Platteville. Edge is on for the third time tonight. And here is John Drefsinski. Grounded to first and second. And made it out in the fifth inning. Strikeout in the fifth. Platteville leading 3-1. They've scored all 3 runs in this sixth inning. And a swing and a miss, meanwhile, to Drefsinski. And the 0-1 pitch. Grounded to third and dropped, and then picked up wide at third. And going to third will be Edge. First and third with 2 out. And now Riley Niehaus. Niehaus tonight, a pair of strikeouts, looking and called. First and third and 2 out. Platteville has scored 3 runs. And what surprise, with 2 out. And a stolen base without a throw. By Drefsinski. And the pitch to Niehaus, a swing and miss. Two strikes to Niehaus. And ends the inning. But Platteville scores 3. And we go to the bottom 6th. Platteville 3, Dickeyville 1. And Def Leppard, I think it's Def Leppard. Or it's either Def Leppard or a swarm of bumblebees here at Keeper's Park. Really nice facility here. And there are a couple of hundred people here watching this game. Biggest crowd Platteville has played before this season. And you would expect for a championship game. And Platteville is 3 outs away from the Pony League title. Dickeyville is 2 runs away from sending this to extra innings. And this would be the second extra inning game of the night. As you know, Cuba City won the Little League title 7-4 over Dickeyville in 7 innings. They scored 3 in the top of 7th inning for the win. So, Seth Millsap will try to finish off this game. He'll be the winning pitcher if he can get the last 3 outs without 2 runs scoring it in. It's the 5, 6, 7 batters in the bottom of the 6th. Zach Bush, Colin Wiederholt, and Devin Udelhoven, plus, I suppose, pinch hitters. Bush scored. Bush did not score. He reached base. He was the first runner to get to scoring position, but was left there in the second and a swing and a miss after a base hit. He has actually 2 hits tonight in the second and in the fourth. 3-1 Platteville. 1 ball, 1 strike. Have to bring this up. Millsap had in the bottom of the 6th inning against Keeler, loaded the bases, but got it. Looked like he was about to get out of it, and then an error scored 2 runs. Another walk, loaded the bases, and then Millsap got a strikeout to end the ball game. Aged all of the parents here by at least 10 years, but got it. Grounded foul, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Platteville had not had more than 2 runners past first base until the 6th inning, and they got the 3 runs to take the lead, and that's strike 3 on the outside corner. 1 out. That's the first time that Bush has been retired tonight.
He was vocal like
And Tranel, who struck out in his only appearance tonight, and he takes a strike. I forgot that he pinch hit back in the fourth inning. One ball, one strike. Two balls and a strike. Two on. First base, right to Timlin. And Platteville is 1 out away, and Dickeyville is down to its last out. Devin Udelhoven at the plate. And that's ball one. Udelhoven tonight walked and a single, so he has been on base twice. He was erased, remember, on that ball that bounced off of Dylan Prestegard right to second base. High, 2 balls, no strikes.
Probably not.
2-0 pitch. 3 balls, no strikes. Here's a 3-0. And that's looked to the left center, and Drasinski handicap, and Platteville wins. The Platteville Hills are the champions of the Pony League, the 6th seed in the tournament, but they beat the 3rd seed Keeler and the 2nd seed Cuba City. And tonight, with 3 runs in the 6th inning, they defeat Dickeyville 3-1. And now they're trying to decide who gets the game ball, and we'll have the congratulations after the ball game, and we'll show the awards. Maybe we'll even do some post game since we figured out how to do pregame. Well, what a great ball game this was. A taut pitcher's battle, as you would have expected from two teams that have had the pitching that they've had. Two teams certainly playing their best baseball of the year right now also. Dickeyville with 1 run in the 3rd, and it looked like it was going to stand up right up until the 6th inning when Platteville put 3 runs together and retire the Dickeyville Athletic Club in the bottom of the 6th in order, and Platteville wins the title.
It was a long season, a lot of support, hard work for us. Everybody else worked their team. First of all, play, boys 28,
and Scott Bush, the Dickeyville coach, will be giving out the 2nd place medals. They really played well tonight. They really did. It was just that it was a couple of base runners got aboard, and Platteville was able to get them in the top of the 6th inning. So the Dickeyville players get the 2nd place medals. And a nice hand from their fans here, and an amazing number of fans that turned out for this ball game. It seems like all Dickeyville was here tonight.
Good on game, guys. Commissioners, this year's Tri-County Wrestling Boys Champions, Platteville.
And now Platteville will get their first place medals. And I think we can safely say that this photo will be in the paper in the Platteville Journal next week. You know, Dickeyville, they were the 5th seed coming into this tournament and ended up 2nd. And that's pretty good. That's playing with, so to speak, that is playing with house money in the last couple of rounds when you're able to beat 2 higher seeded teams, Galena the 4th seed, and then number 1 Belmont. Platteville beat now 3 higher seeded teams to get this. Assistant coach Kurt Timlin over there also. Well, this looks like a nice little rivalry to start for like the spring of 2018 and 2019 and 2020 and 2021. Of course, both of these teams, a mix of 7th graders and 8th graders, so some of them will be back on this team next year. And the rest will be playing at Platteville High School or Cuba City High School. Platteville wins the title 3-1 over Dickeyville. And there's going to be a photo, and then we'll try to do some post-game. So come on back. Congratulations to the Hill